Welcome to the Close the Deal Show. I'm your host, Terrence McCray. Every week we bring you business information, tips, and insights from entrepreneurs, business professionals, and inspired individuals from the San Francisco Bay Area and beyond. The Close the Deal Show also features public announcements, Entrepreneur Week, and small business. And if you're looking for strategies to help you in business, in educating the public, you're in the right place. Thank you for joining us today. The topic for today's show is how one simple issue, statement, or disgruntled affiliate could change your revenue stream for the year in your business. What I'm talking about is, let's discuss the political issue and business issue the National Football League is facing this year with a boycott. Please call in if you have an opinion at 415-861-6648. In 2017, Colin Kaperneck, along with NFL players, silently demonstrated during the national anthem to protest the mistreatment of blacks by law enforcement, surged after our president made remarks. I choose not to say what he said, but there's something that we all need to be able to look at and address in this particular matter. And that is the fact that there is a major issue in this country dealing with blacks being targeted. Personally, I don't think this year NFL season will be profitable at all. And the reason being, I believe the season will focus on decisive racial politics instead of the sports itself. And this is not the first time that individuals have protested silently without violence against the national anthem. We remember back in World War II during the Olympics when the brother raised his hand. So I want people to really pay close attention to the business aspect of this particular topic. If the National Football League wants to remain a $14 billion business in America, then it needs to figure out quickly how to close the right deal to keep fans want more football. Because if you think about it, $14 billion is a lot of revenue in 1 year. But because of the major issue with Colin Kaepernick, 33% of American football fans said they will purposely stop watching and attending NFL games this season. Do you know how much money that is? 33%? That's $4.620 billion. Now, you mean to tell me you think that all these business owners of these national football teams would have come to some reconciliation in how to figure out this matter instead of possibly losing $4.620 billion? What type of business strategy is that? Solely because people have an opinion about something regarding the national anthem, but they don't want to really address the major issue dealing with blacks being targeted by law enforcement in a violent way? Wow, that's a big business move. So I want you to check out this video, pay very close attention to it, and if you have an opinion, please chime in and call.
Houston Texans, I'm blacking you out. The Atlanta Falcons, I am blacking you out. Washington, I'm blacking you out.
Dallas Cowboys, I'm blacking you out.
Titans, I'm blacking you out.
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 NFL, we're blacking you out.
In 2016, NFL quarterback Colin Kaperneck engaged in a silent, non-violent protest. Colin Kaeperneck simply decided to take a knee during the playing of the national anthem at NFL games. He did this to kind of raise awareness to the number of brown and black individuals that had been beaten or killed at the hands of law enforcement across this country. Since the end of last season, as a result of this protest, Colin Kaeperneck has been unable to find employment in the NFL. I find that strange, seeing that the NFL has employed individuals that have been convicted of sexual assault, domestic violence, cruelty to animals, along with driving while under the influence. A number of NFL owners have come out and stated the reason they can't employ him is because of a fear of a backlash from sponsors or a certain segment of their fan base. And it's interesting that they've capitulated thus far to a certain segment of the fan base while fearing no backlash from the African-American community. The African-American community makes up 15% of the NFL's overall viewership. And I find it interesting that they've made the calculation that states that even though they're going to silence one who stood up for values that have meaning to us, they have an expectation that African Americans are still going to be there on opening day, watching and patronizing their product. My belief is simply this: if Colin Kaepernick was willing to take a stand for those of us who are non-celebrities that would have to interact with law enforcement on a day-to-day basis, if he was willing to take a knee for us, certainly we ought to take a stand and stand with him. I think it's important that we take some action steps.
As long as Kaepernick is without a job, we refuse to watch the NFL, we refuse to purchase any NFL paraphernalia endorsed by the NFL, and we refuse to engage in fantasy football.
As a church community, we commit 1 to 2 hours each Sunday for the next 17 weeks of football to pour in to our African American boys and girls. We will do this whether he is employed or not. Let's take the time that would normally be given to the NFL and give back to our boys and girls.
Spread the word to other men that we speak the language that the NFL responds to: money. Let us make it clear that since our lives matter so little to them, their product will matter even less to us.
We take a knee as Kaepernick did. We devote this season to prayer each morning, 6 a.m. for our youth, communities, local and government officials.
This is not a boycott, but a man-cott, because this demonstration is not for boys, it's for men of strong conviction.
Now, we want you to know this protest is not anti-flag, because people of color love the Stars and Stripes. It is not anti-American, because people of color have loved this country even when this country has not loved us back. And this protest is not anti-veteran, because we support those who have made sacrifices so that our liberties have been secured. This protest is to ensure the rights of all Americans, regardless of color or creed, to be heard.
Together we stand united against discrimination in all its forms. We're making a call to people of conscience, regardless of race, religion, or creed, who are able to recognize injustice and join us in this blackout. It is a call to all pastors, leaders, and churches, not just to look at what's happening as a black problem, but as an American problem.
We black out hatred. We mourn for our brothers and sisters in Charlottesville, Virginia. We pray for the healing of that community, along with the healing of our nation.
Up through 2014, the NFL had what they call blackout policies. When a stadium in a particular city had failed to sell out all of its tickets, they would black out the game so it couldn't be shown on that local market. They would force the fans to the stadium to buy the tickets. Today, we're forcing the hands of the NFL. We're saying that there's some values that we have that matter and they count. And so NFL, we want you to know that we're going to black you out. I'm making a call to pastors, leaders, my brothers, all people of conscience, regardless of your race or your background, to join us in this blackout. I want to be clear that I'm a football fan. I played it most of my life growing up, and there's rarely a Sunday that I've missed in my adult years. But there comes a point in time where I've got to prioritize my convictions more than my entertainment value. And let me be clear that this thing is bigger than Colin Kaepernick. He took a stand for an issue that's uniquely valuable to African Americans. But tomorrow, it could be your liberties, your perspective, your worldview that's at stake. He is symbolic of all of us.
Join us.
Join us. Join us.
Join us. Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
We're going to black you out. You're on the clock.
So what do you choose to do? Do you choose to black out the NFL this year? Or do you choose to be a part of your own choice? Whatever that may be. And whatever your choice is, it's up to you. But at the end of the day, these men are speaking about values, something Kaepernick demonstrated, what his values are. And his values as a black man is not to be mistreated or to see other men of any race be mistreated by law enforcement. How so? We know about the issue in the black community dealing with law enforcement, and if you don't know, it's broadcast on the news and on video all the time, but the stories that you don't hear about is the ones that you really, really need to pay close attention to, because when people are talking about a serious matter, dealing with blacks being mistreated, take note to it, because this is a cause that's not going to go away. These individuals, instead of using violence, they're using their pocketbook. So, what is your mission for the NFL this year? Is it to support it, be involved in it, be a part of it? Who knows? It's up to you to decide. You know, you have your own choice. You can watch the game, or you could just not even choose to watch the game. At the end of the day, you have to take a stance. If you see an injustice, are you going to ignore it? Is that the type of moral perspective that you have? Because ideally, if you operate, okay, with a set of values to where you want other people to respect your establishment through your values, then your stance is going to show what you believe in, whether it don't be football or whether it just be something that you like particular. At the end of the day, people will see where you stand. Me personally, I'm going to refuse to watch football. And I grew up playing Pop Warner football. I grew up playing high school football. I love the game of football. You know, I used to love playing in the rain with my friends at the park, you know, chasing the ball, catching the ball, tackling. You know, it was a camaraderie thing. I still have my childhood friends that I grew up with playing football. Football has always been my favorite sport, even over basketball, you know. I didn't become a great football player. I became a good football player to where I enjoyed it. And so many people enjoy the game. You know, I enjoyed the Super Bowl when the New York Giants came back and beat the New England Patriots, you know. So I know what the excitement brings, you know. I enjoyed when the Seattle Seahawks won the Super Bowl, you know. I enjoyed when the Raiders won the Super Bowl when I was a kid, when Marcus Allen ran against Denver and scored the touchdown. So I know how football brings joy to people. I got childhood friends who are actual high school coaches right now, and they love the game of football. Who doesn't love the game of football? But what we don't love is the fact that even though a lot of this will reflect businesses losing revenue this year, we don't like to see people be mistreated by anyone. It doesn't even matter whether it's just law enforcement. It's just an unfortunate thing where we believe we should be able to get protection, because that's what they're in the business for, to protect the citizens. That's what you pay hard tax dollars money for. So the same money you paying people to protect you is the same people that will kill you? What kind of business is that? So we want to focus on the fact that Colin Kaepernick stood up, took a stance for something that he believed in, you know, and he made a bold move. So many commentators, so many sports critics, so many people have spoken about the fact that there is some racial bias going on in the NFL. because of all the unqualified quarterbacks that are still playing, that have been brought out of retirement when certain teams needed a quarterback, and Colin Kaperneck didn't have a job, and he was more qualified than these other particular players, and they're still playing. A man that has taken a team to a Super Bowl, a man that has taken San Francisco 49ers to multiple NFC championship and have won one. Come on now. This is what the big old controversy issue is. Why? Because he took a stance that was silent in his demonstration, that was nonviolent, is he being persecuted? Because that's what it appears like the National Football League has done. They have ostracized him from the league and basically said, we are not going to partake in meeting your demands, or in other words, listening to your issues. We're going to ignore it as if nothing matters, and for our chief of commander to say the derogatory, stupid remarks that he's made has just brought on more controversy. So from a business standpoint, who's losing? We all are, to some degree. We all are. Because at the end of the day, you know, where are you going to go buy your memorabilia if you're boycotting? You're not going to buy any. So that local small business owner or the National Football League is not going to be able to sell jerseys as they usually do. Online sales will go down. Distribution companies won't be shipping out anything. Manufacturing companies won't be making as many jerseys as they would be. Attendance in stadiums is going to go down. Employment for people that work at these stadiums is going to go down. Corporate companies and sponsors are going to lose money. You know, rental car services and hotels across all these stadiums, luxury boxes from ticket season holders is going to drop. I mean, we can go on and on and on. What business strategy, okay, has the business owners thought about? I mean, if you look at the commissioner for the NFL, they need to come up with a better solution, because that is a big damper. $4,620,000,000 out of 33% of National Football League fans are not going to participate, not going to buy any product. Well, if you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, we can't even recall when the last time they made the playoffs. So how are they going to make money? Okay? If you look at all the teams that was below 500 and didn't win over 5 games last year, how are they going to compete in the National Football League anytime soon? It's like these teams won't even have an opportunity to get what? Coverage on CBS or NBC for a game where everybody throughout the country could see it, like they show the Cowboys all the time. You know, so we want to be able to recognize, okay, that when you have an issue or a statement has been made or a disgruntled affiliate in your business, best example, you got to be able to look at right now. How much money do you really think that when Starbucks had the big issue with someone calling the police on some African-American men, that the owner had to say, hold up, wait a minute. This is not how my establishments run. This is not my mission. This is not my motto in serving American customers. So they had to have, for 2 or 3 or 4 hours, classes on how to be effective customer service to people and not be biased. For every Starbucks store in America, that had to cost that individual, the CEO, at least $100 million or more, just to prevent this from going out of proportion. And he rectified that situation quickly. Now that was a good strategy. And that problem has gone away. Why? Because I went to Starbucks the other day. I didn't have a problem with it at all. And I didn't need Common to share anything with me about it. I addressed that issue by not going to Starbucks the minute I seen that story on TV, and didn't go until change has been made. And as a matter of fact, down the street where I filmed this show, they just hired a black in there, and they never had a black up in there the entire time that I've been going to Starbucks at this particular store. And it just so happened they have an African American in there. And sure enough, I didn't have a problem going in there. So the NFL needs to be able to recognize you got to come up with better business strategies. So for you local small businesses, you need to be aware. You don't want to cause a disgruntled person to boycott your store, or you don't want to create an issue where people are making statements on Yelp about your product and your service. So this is the Close the Deal show. Just remember, we love to hear from you. If you have suggestions, questions, or even want to apply to be a guest, visit us at www.theclosethedealshow.com. Worldwide, find us on YouTube. Please subscribe, like, and comment on your favorite episode. Take good care, everyone. Don't forget, find the right connection and close the right deal.